Hey, how's it going there, folks? I want to make you guys this video about twin flames or twin souls or soulmates or whatever. You hear a lot of stuff about it, you watch it on YouTube, and the majority of it is kind of close, but it's not exactly accurate. Now, they say that math is the language of the universe. Now you hear people say, oh, music is the language of the universe. It's the music of the spheres. Well, there's something to that, but all the greatest composers that ever happened, like Beethoven and Mozart, and Handel, or whatever, they were all really incredible mathematicians before they were musicians. Because there's no way they couldn't have been the great composer they were unless they were unbelievable mathematicians. So there's mathematics to it. Now, the soul itself. So it's the whole setup is Mer, Ka, Ba, La, and it's thus Mer means Mer, it means temple or the body. Ka means soul, like James Brown. I know you got soul, and then Ba means spirit, the spirit, which is really undefinable, but you have to call it something. But the Greeks had a pretty good beat on it, because they called it enthusiasm, in the spirit. So you're excited about something, see? Which is different than the energy spike of excitement or depression. Okay, so in the spirit is a constant, and it's infinite. So really the spirit represents love. So then the last part is La. So we hear that it's L-A. So, you got Mer, M-E-R, Ka, K-A, Ba, B-A, and then La, L-A. But it's really L-A-H. And it's L-A-H, or L-H-A, excuse me, it's L-H-A, which represents the root word of the capital of Tibet, Lhasa, because Lhasa would be basically the spiritual chakra of the planet Earth, okay, in Tibet. And so now within that configuration, you've got this entire setup, all of us or whatever. So there's your mathematics of the four. And then then we come to the Bible. And the Bible's got some interesting stuff in it. Majority of it's bullshit, but it's got a couple things in there that matter. And I think I know that really there's only probably 3 or 4 things in there that matter. And 2 of them are love each other, or the golden rule. The golden rule is the golden rule. It's the golden race rules. See what I'm saying? And not from any authoritarian standpoint, but that's a whole nother series of videos. But and the other thing in the Bible is the Bible gives you some indications of mathematics. Because you've heard of the Bible code, being embedded in the Bible, and the Bible code is just mainly all bullshit and mind control at this point, because it's based on Kabbalah, which is a system that was needed in the ancient world for the mathematics of the science of medicine, medical science. And it was used all the way back, 270, 280,000 years ago for a certain reason. And for a long time after that, for about well over 150,000 years, it was needed, but we don't really need it anymore. So now it's just used for mind control. But what the Bible does show you is that the humans, us, we incarnate in 12 plus 1 configurations. So you see, there was Jesus, who's supposed to be the sun or the star, and then there is the 12 disciples, and each disciple supposedly had a different zodiacal sign, which represents a different constellation of connected stars. You see, so that's the accurate information. Okay, now, so when you come across and you want to find or you want to meet your soulmate or whatever, people are really big on meeting their soulmate. That could be difficult. Generally, soulmates or people in your spirit core that are incarnated on the planet, if something happens to you and you need to connect with someone in your spirit core, it'll just happen. And that person will just understand you. And I don't mean necessarily from an analytical standpoint, or they may not be in the same socioeconomic standpoint that you're at in life, or whatever. They may not even have the same interests that you have. But there'll be something deep down, something inexplicable, that is a connection between you, and that can be felt across thousands and thousands of miles. If it needs to happen that way. Like, say for instance, when two soulmates or whatever encounter each other, now there's generally a purpose and there's something that comes out of it. And generally it's going to be some unusual situation that produces love, and an incredible amount of it, in a concentrated manner. Because it normally produces a situation where things happen that probably, by the logic of the world, probably shouldn't occur. Like, say for instance, you saw the Star Wars movies, and you know that Darth Vader was evil. He was just terrible, you know. And then him and his son Luke just came across each other. They could feel each other. Remember, they could feel each other. And so he was, he works for the Emperor, so he's supposed to kill Luke, And I mean, Darth Vader represents Lucifer and Satan right there in one person, right? And the Emperor represents Arian. In other words, the authority over Lucifer and Satan. And in the end, you remember Luke said he tugged at the heartstrings of the evil Darth Vader. He said, I know that I know there's good in you, Father, or whatever. And it was Darth Vader that wound up killing the Emperor. So there's mathematics to that too. You see. So Darth Vader really represented duality. And then Luke represented love. And the Emperor represented Arian, the real devil. And that triangulation, that temple, Merkabah, destroyed the Emperor. You see? So you hear all the New Age stuff about, the twin flames. And the New Age had some good stuff in it, but it was mainly usurped and co-opted by Satanists, because that's a way to get the Nazi system of mind control off into the world, and to get everybody mind control in a certain way. So along came the New Age. And so the majority of the New Age information is what's called disinformation or misinformation. Not all of it, but majority of it is. And that's so that people will go towards it, but then when they get there, they're distracted by so much information till they basically will fall off into a category of that what they're following isn't actually accurate. And so you're distracted from the truth. So people may be in situations like, say, for spirit core soul flames, or whatever you want to call it, because they're going to create the flame. See, they may have completely different circumstances in life. I mean, you don't know what the other person's circumstance, but something happens and it draws them to each other. And like, for instance, there was this movie, I don't know if you ever saw it, but it was this guy, he was on a plane, and his plane crashed in the desert or whatever. It was a plane full of people, and he winds up meeting this girl on the plane. And the girl was way younger than him. He was a writer or whatever. And they fell in love with each other. And then they went to Greece and France and kind of traipsed all over Europe and stuff like that. And they were just it was a really beautiful story, and they were really in love with each other. And then one day they went to the beach, and she slipped and fell and hit her head on a rock. And it was a snake. And she slipped and fell and hit her head on a rock. And she wound up going to the hospital, and she died. He was at the hospital there while she was, getting taken care of, and in walks his ex-wife. And he's like, "The fuck you doing here?" And she's like, "I'm here to see blah, 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 blah." And he's like, "Oh my God." See, but he needed that girl. But he could not have had a relationship with her that he had with her had he known it was his daughter. You see? Love transcends all of the bullshit, all the analysis, everything. You hear Roman Polanski, getting interviewed about his affair with that young girl, but the way he explained it was, this is something that just happened. We just had an affinity for each other, and that was it. I mean, nobody was forced to do anything, Sadly, there's some merit to his conversation, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have prosecuted him over it, but, well, this is America, and that's the rule, so. But just the way your heart will feel, because the hearts talk to each other. And then so you'll have situations where sometimes even that can be thwarted, that connection to other people in your spirit core. But you shouldn't let it thwart anything. When you feel that deeply in your heart like that, that's what you should pursue, because the other person's heart talking to you, because you come from the same spirit core. So they incarnate in 12 plus 1 configurations. You'll have one that has what's called a double body. So they'll have 2 luminous shells. They'll have 2 energy bodies. You call them auras or whatever. You have one person that'll have 2 auras. And that's like the Jesus. And the heart around his neck is showing you it's got 2 auras, really. That's why those things are tied around there. There's 2 of them, 2 auras around the heart. And then you'll have the rest of the components. They will incarnate. They all incarnate together and around each other. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's going to happen. And that's unusual. That's for a special purpose. But that generally doesn't take place that way. But that's why it is important to write about it. They had a very special, mission, a specialized mission, and the mission was accomplished. So, it's worth writing about an occurrence like that never happens. I mean, hardly ever happens, but it happens. See, so That's pretty much, the story of what the twin flames are, of the soulmate. You could have up to, quote unquote, 12 other soulmates if you needed them. See what I'm saying? It doesn't mean they're all going to be male or female. You see what I'm saying? So, it can be for different purposes or whatever. But generally, when they encounter each other, they'll encounter each other to help the other person repair, to help the other person restore themselves, especially generally in some energetic way. It's normally in some energetic way, like a soul way. They'll help them repair, and that's what they're there for. That doesn't mean it'll happen, but it'll probably happen, because that's the way love works. So, it's a little more, common. Like say, for instance, people use the zodiac to make compatibility up and stuff like that, or they use numerology, or they use Carl Jung's system of identification of personalities, based off the 4 core personalities, and then there's up to 16 of them total, and they got 4 character designations like INFJ and blah 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 blah. That stuff's pretty accurate, and the corporations use that to figure out who to hire for what and stuff like that. But anything that you go to and you use it as a system of authority, it can become just that. A system of authority that is not valid, that is not a valid system. Because the thing that transcends all of the mathematics is love. All of it. You could have a person with the 2 worst compatibility factors on the personality test or on the zodiac, and those people could have the greatest love that any 2 people ever had. It's just love transcends it all. Love and the effort you make about it. You know what I'm saying? So, sometimes, they say that, it's a really good saying too, when you meet your twin soul, your twin flame or whatever, you don't even have to try that hard. Very interesting, huh? So there you go. Just letting you know, when you feel that mystical pull on the inside, you should take a look at it and determine if that's what's going to be beneficial to you, because more than likely, that's what's going to be beneficial to you.